Hey, fam, what is going on? How's everybody doing? It's a solo edition of the Week 12 game day. Cody is traveling, heading back to Pittsburgh. Well, I don't know why anybody would want to head back to Pennsylvania, but that's what people do. We have, Robbie. He's handling some business. So I'm riding solo, answering all your questions. Let's get it. We're going to get Week 12 dubs. That's what we're here for, whether you're ahead or behind. We're on to the championship. We're on to the fantasy playoffs. Let's get some W's today. So get your questions in here. I will answer every single question that we got, and we're going to get some dubs. So let me know in the chat how everybody's doing this morning, and let's get it started. So we got Porter hopping in here. Eagles defense, 49ers, Ravens, or Texans defense. I'm going to go with the Eagles here. Absolutely love them in this game. We see Daniel Jones really struggle in this, lately. And so the Eagles defense has been playing really well the last 2 weeks. They've been able to get defensive turnovers with, Darius Slay. Darius Slay is expected to play, so that is good there. Kyle in the chat, Mitchell if he plays, or Javante at flex. If Mitchell plays, I'm going to go Eli. This is an excellent matchup going against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings have really struggled to stop the run this year. They rank almost dead last in every adjusted line yard metric you look at on Fantasy Outsiders. Or Football Outsiders, excuse me. I do love Javante Williams. With Javante Williams, it's interesting because there's been a lot of talk this week about possibly this being the week that he actually takes over. He kind of did so a little bit the week prior before their bye. Melvin Gordon fumbled, and kind of after that, he kind of took over. I have some optimism too, because if you look at historically, a lot of times teams after the bye give the rookie kind of the reins, and this would make sense for them to do so. They are a team that's kind of borderline if they're even going to make the playoffs. I would venture more towards no, but so with Javante, I think this could be a good spot for him. Regardless, that the Chargers have struggled to stop the run. I will say, really over the last 4 or 5 weeks, they've been better against the run. They do still struggle inside the red zone at stopping opposing running backs, but they have been a better run defense than what they were earlier in the year. But they still are a team that we can run the football against. So I would prefer Elijah Mitchell here in this matchup. If he plays, good news. These are both 3:00 games, so we're going to know well in advance. DJ Moore, I got a wide receiver from free agents. I don't know what that is. Porter. Xenon, good morning. How you doing? Patterson if he plays, or Aaron Jones if he plays. So this is a tougher one because the Falcons obviously play at noon and the Packers play at 3. If you would ask me last night, I probably would have said Aaron Jones wasn't playing, but then we started to get more reports that he's possibly going to be active this week, that he's trending towards playing, but he's still going to test it out pregame. I don't know exactly what he has to do pregame to test it out. He's practiced pretty much all week. And so I'm starting to think that he's going to play. It wouldn't shock me if they are still, cautious here. We've kind of seen something like this before. I think it was last year with Devontae Adams. We kind of were hearing the same things with him, and he ended up not playing. In this situation, if Cordell Patterson is active, I really don't like Cordell Patterson that much this week, mainly because he's coming off a high ankle sprain, and those tend to really linger and hurt players, especially the ones that try to come back too soon. So this isn't a situation that I absolutely love Cordell Patterson, but this kind of puts you in a bad spot with Aaron Jones, because if he doesn't play, Xenon, what are your other options? If you don't play Cordell Patterson, we hold on to wait for Aaron Jones. Do you have any other options here? Because if he doesn't, you may be left holding the bag, because we're not really going to know for sure probably till around 2 or 3 o'clock Central Time or wherever you're at, right before, about an hour before the game. So let me know if you have any other options here on Aaron Jones, because I would prefer to play Aaron Jones. This is a good matchup for him. I think he does get involved. And even if he's limited, I think he's probably going to be limited as the pass catcher if he is limited at all. Maybe he doesn't get the same workload on the ground, but he's still probably going to be heavily involved in the passing game, which is an aspect that they absolutely need here. While A.J. Dillon is definitely a functional pass catcher, we saw it last week, I think it was the 6 targets, 6 receptions that he had in that game. He's not the same guy as Aaron Jones. He's not able to – you're not going to sit here and send him on all kinds of routes down the field. He is much more of a limited dump-off guy. And so I do think Aaron Jones adds a different aspect to this game. So Zenon, let me know if you have another option here in case he doesn't play, because I want to play Aaron Jones. That's who I want to go with. But we won't know until probably after that Falcons game has started. Franco hopping in the chat. Hey, guys, at a PPR, I need an RB2, Miles Sanders versus Damien Harris, and a flex, Miles Sanders, Harris, Galladay, or Gage. So I'm locking in Miles Sanders. Absolutely in love Miles Sanders. This is a great spot for him. We've seen the Eagles really over the last month of the season become the most run-heavy team in the league. They are running at almost 60% rate, which is first in the league. I don't think that's going to change in this game. And so I love Miles Sanders. They ruled out Jordan Howard, so that just helps him even more with more opportunities. And so Miles Sanders is a lock for me at RB2. And then the other options we have here, Damien Harris, Galladay, or Gage. This comes down to Kenny Galladay and Russell Gage for me, just because I think Damien Harris is probably going to be not limited, but splitting touches with Ramondre Stevenson. And while I think it's a good matchup against the Titans, I just don't love playing the team whenever they're going to be splitting touches like this. And we're also going to have other running backs involved as well. So it's going to be a complete timeshare here in this backfield. And so I just prefer other options if I can. And I would lean towards Russell Gage here. I really like Russell Gage this week at a matchup against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has been really bad so far to start the season. And it's not going to change anytime soon. So I like getting Russell Gage. They still don't really have anybody, especially, if Cordell Patterson ends up missing. We'll find out on that. But regardless whether he's in or out, I like this matchup. I think this game has some shootout potential, and I think it's a good bounce back spot for the Falcons. Give me Russell Gage here in this one, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars with a great matchup. Noel rocking with us in the chat. Let's go. Yes, let's go. Let's get them dubs this week. Kyle, what's up? How you doing? How you living? Alexis, yep, it's game day. Let's go. Down quite a bit right now since Waller did not finish the game, but Allen made up for it with 26 points. So hopefully I can get a win this week if Najee pops off. Najee's in a great spot going against Cincinnati. We know the dude's just absolutely the entire offense, and that running back he has dropped a little bit from the ridiculous 90% of the opportunities he was getting out of the backfield, but he's still at 75%, which is absolutely elite. He's involved in the passing game. He is this backfield. So I think he's in it for another great spot. Michael Brown, if Aaron Jones doesn't play, do I start Dylan or DK at my flex PPR league? That one is close. So if Aaron Jones does not play, I would probably go with DK Metcalf here. It's really close, but I think this is a really prime spot for DK Metcalf to pop off against Washington. Washington secondary has been trash. I think we get an opportunity here to see this defense, see this offense kind of turn it around after really a pretty slow start since Russell Wilson has been back. So I do like DK Metcalf going on Monday Night Football. And I think this question is going to be answered for you anyways, because I'm starting to lean that Aaron Jones is probably going to play with everything we've heard. But you got two spots where you're going to know anyways. So go DK Metcalf here. Ronald, what's up? How are you living? What's up? Hope you're doing well. SBB, Marquis Brown or Judy in full PPR this week? This one is pretty close for me. I think both of these are really viable options. I think for me, if I'm going to play Jerry Judy, I'm going to have to tell myself a story where this offense is going to be trailing in this game. We've kind of talked about this a little bit, these other shows we've had this week, but the Broncos are a team that obviously wants to run the football, where you have the Chargers, who are one of the most fast-paced offenses in the league. They're top 5 in pace, which is going to push this Broncos team to throw more. In a full PPR setting, I'm going to go Jerry Judy here over Marquis Brown. Marquis Brown does have probably a higher ceiling, but with the options they have in this offense, with Rashad Bateman back, Sammy Watkins fully healthy again, this is going to be kind of one of the few times we've seen this year with all the pass catchers for the Ravens. So I want to see how this plays out. So give me Jerry Judy in this matchup here against the Chargers. Derek rocking with us again, a full PPR and flex. Ayuk, Kendrick Bourne, Crowder, Gage. Do I drop Bourne for Galladay? So let's start off with who we're starting or sitting. We're going Brandon Ayuk. Absolutely Brandon Ayuk. Love Brandon Ayuk this week in this matchup going against the Minnesota Vikings. This game has the highest potential to me to be an absolute shootout this week because of these two teams. The Vikings defense is really struggling. They're missing multiple pieces along that defense this week. And so I love Brandon Ayuk. Love him on DraftKings at his price at 5,300. I have a ton of Brandon Ayuk on DraftKings. So I'm going Brandon Ayuk here in this one. And do I drop Bourne for Kenny Golladay? I think you can. I think Kenny Golladay could, finish the season strong. He's really struggled with injuries this year. Kendrick Bourne, the Patriots at every matchup they get that they're able to sit on the ball and be a slow offense and really run the football, they're going to. And so I think Kenny Golladay, actually, I think this really helps the Jason Garrett firing, I think really helps Kenny Golladay the most because what we've seen, if you go back to his days when he was in Cleveland, they really, once he took over as the OC in 2018, about halfway through the season, kind of around the same time we are now, their offense went from in 2018 for Cleveland, we're only averaging 6.6 yards per attempt, and that jumped to 8.8 over the time that Freddie Kitchens was the offensive coordinator. We know that we're going to see a lot more deep shots, and that's really going to help Kenny Golladay. So I would be comfortable picking up Kenny Golladay for Kendrick Bourne. I don't think that's a move that's really going to hurt me all that much. Xenon, Odell is my other option. So, yeah, if you have time, then, yeah, that's what I would do because I kind of like Odell Beckham as well in this game. I think now coming off the bye, he's going to get more time to kind of take a look at to get acclimated to this offense. So give me Odell, or I think so now you have a spot where you can go. So let's wait on Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones plays, we're going to go with him. If not, we'll just plug in Odell at a really prime spot in this matchup here against the Packers. So yeah, I think you're fine there. So I would absolutely wait because I don't want to be the guy who sits Aaron Jones and Aaron Jones has one of his monster games in this matchup. Because if you remember, if you go back to the playoffs last year, where these two teams faced each other, the Packers used a lot of two running back sets with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and they use a different aspect here with this offense. And I think we kind of see something similar here in this game. So I want to hold on and see if Aaron Jones is playing, and we will just won't know in time. So yes, definitely hold on to that one, and let's sit Cordell Patterson here in that matchup. Murdoch, Elijah Mitchell, Freeman, Javante in a full PPR. A little concerned Mitchell doesn't play a full game or get targets. Yeah, but the targets thing is probably not that he really hasn't been outside of the last week he played when he was healthy, where I think he saw like 5 targets and ran a lot more routes. It's not something he's really done all year. He hasn't really been targeted that much. I would agree that there's probably a real strong possibility that he's probably not going to be heavily involved in the passing game, where he's utilized much more on the ground. So then it becomes much more of a game script type of game if they were to fall behind early, where Elijah Mitchell would probably get game scripted out a little bit. But the problem is I would lean towards Elijah Mitchell. I think if he plays, I think you feel pretty confident in him. Excellent matchup, like I've said, against Minnesota. And so I'm going to go Elijah Mitchell here if he plays. If he doesn't, just lock in Javonte Williams. And again, we're not in a situation here where we have to make a decision now and you can wait. But it's sounding more like Elijah Mitchell is going to play. So I don't think you're going to have to worry about that. Porter, DJ Moore, or Mike Evans. I'm going Mike Evans in a matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have been terrible, absolute booty against opposing wide receivers this year. And so I'm going Mike Evans. I like DJ Moore this week as well. I think he is the go-to target for Cam Newton. But I just prefer Mike Evans more in this spot. He's heavily utilized in the red zone as well. He's not seeing the same sort of target share, even with Antonio Brown out. He's only getting like a 17% target share. But he is the deep threat. He is the red zone guy for the Bucs. So give me Mike Evans here in this matchup. Logan Thomas, a good tight end to start today in place of Kelsey on bye. I don't mind it for Logan Thomas. I think with him, Ricky Seals-Jones is doubtful to play, so we're not worrying about that one. It's just, it's tight end, right? Tight ends, if he can get 4 for 40, we're probably happy. So, going in a matchup against Seattle, that's not really an offense that really scares me all that much in terms of, targeting. So, yeah, I think Logan Thomas is absolutely fine. Robert Ruiz, flex, PPR, Javante Williams, Miles Sanders, or Brandon Ayuk. You're hitting me right in the soul with this one, Robert, because I love absolutely one of these dudes this week. I'm going to go Miles Sanders, though. It's just a great matchup for him. Like I've already talked about, he's got to see the bulk of the touches out of this backfield. I think he probably would have saw more last week had he not got himself not fumbled. And then I think they also talked about he went out of bounds, but they wanted him to stay in bounds on a play to run the clock. So that's why he saw a little bit less touches. But with no Jordan Howard, he is absolutely going to be the guy today. This is tough because I absolutely love Brandon Ayuk as well and Javante Williams. So let me know if there's anybody else. Maybe we can find a way to get Brandon Ayuk in the lineup too, just because I think he's at a really prime spot to really have another bounce back spot. Who is Denver Broncos playing? They are playing the Chargers this week, Porter. Ronald, Javante, Bateman, or Mike Williams in my flex. I'm going to go Mike Williams here. Excuse me, against the Denver Broncos. We saw them last week. They finally went back and started using Mike Williams a lot more like they did earlier in the year, where he wasn't just running 9 routes. They weren't saying, hey, Mike Williams, go deep, which was refreshing because that's where he really exploded earlier in the year. And all of a sudden, after about the 4th week of the season, they stopped doing that, and he started running a majority of like 9 routes. They weren't moving him around anymore. He wasn't being utilized, in every sort of in terms of the route tree, running a more nuanced route tree. It was pretty basic. And now last week we saw him go back to that, and it really worked out. As we saw Mike Williams have one of his best games of the season. And so I like Mike Williams. This is a tougher matchup. Denver's defense is really good. They're getting Bradley Chubb back as well. And so that is a help, but I still prefer Mike Williams here. The Chargers are one of the most efficient offenses in the league this year. And so, like I said, the pace and everything else, I'm going to go with Mike Williams here with his boom potential that he has. Fournette or Jamar Chase at flex? Absolutely Jamar Chase. Absolutely Jamar Chase. Absolutely Jamar Chase. Love Jamar Chase here in this matchup. He absolutely crushed the Pittsburgh Steelers the last time they played. I don't think that changes this week. The Steelers are getting back TJ Watt, Mika Fitzpatrick, so that should help that offense or that defense, But Jamar Chase is in an absolute smash spot. I do like Leonard Fournette a little bit, but it's not a good matchup. The Colts defense is one of the best run defenses in the league. They rank in the top of run DVOA. I will say he will be involved in the passing game. He's averaging like a 15% target share over the last 4 weeks. So he is utilized there. But once we get down to the red zone, we're going to see this team throw the ball. The Bucks really throw the ball at one of the highest rates in the league. And so I just prefer Jamar Chase here in this matchup. Other running backs are Najee and James Robinson, and I would not change that. Those obviously 2 guys are locked in. James Robinson is in a prime matchup again. So definitely going with Jamar Chase, Najee, and James Robinson. Zenon. Carson Wentz. Zenon again. Carson Wentz or Russell Wilson. Give me Russell Wilson. I don't mind Carson Wentz here. We know the Bucks struggle against the pass, but I will say, again, this is another team that, if you look over the last 4 or 5 weeks, they have gotten better against the pass and have not been so much of a funnel there. But I'm going with Russell Wilson. I know it's tougher to trust him over the last 2 weeks where they've really struggled. But again, I really expect this week to be a bounce back spot for them going against Washington. So give me Russell Wilson over Carson Wentz. Facebook, Jesse rocking with us. Pick 2, Lockett, Thielen, Mike Williams, or Claypool in PPR. So I'm going to lock in. This one's tough. I'm going to go with Adam Thielen. And I'm going to go with Tyler Lockett here. Really close. I have all of these guys, 3 of the 4 inside my top 20 this week. But I have Thielen at 14. I have Tyler Lockett at 18 and Mike Williams at 20. So give me Tyler Lockett and Adam Thielen this week. Mike Williams is close, but I just prefer those other 2, especially Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett could absolutely go out and drop 40 this week. That's just kind of his MO, and he's been trending in the right direction over the last few weeks. Michael Diaz rocking with us. Aaron Rodgers or Cam Newton? This one is tough because we know Aaron Rodgers is really is nursing that toe injury. We all got to see his toe. That was pretty awesome this week at his press conference. But I'm gonna go with Cam Newton here. I just absolutely love Cam Newton in this game against Miami. We have seen him, over the last couple of weeks that he's been active, has been a touchdown machine. He didn't really have to throw the ball that much and really came through. And I just think this is another really good spot against Miami. I don't mind Aaron Rodgers, but this toe injury concerns me a little bit. He has not practiced all week, and last week he at least got in a limited Friday practice. This week we haven't seen him practice at all, and I would be a little bit nervous about some rust. I mean, we saw it the week before when they played Seattle, where he came off the bench from COVID, came right in, played, looked really rusty early on. So I just slightly prefer Cam Newton here. I have Cam Newton as a top 10 quarterback this week. So give me Cam Newton here in this matchup against the Miami Dolphins, and I think a little bit safer option. Derek, Hunt or Fournette as one of my running backs. Had Pollard and Jacobs that played already. That worked out well. Both of them played pretty well. Let's see. The other two, Hunt or Fournette. These are close because while we know that Fournette is definitely playing, Kareem Hunt is back against Baltimore, and I feel like this is more of a game where you're going to see more of Hunt in the passing game if they fall behind. So this becomes really close for me, and I think both of them are very similar, but I would just lean Leonard Fournette because what we have seen from Cleveland in years past is Nick Chubb absolutely obliterate the Ravens. Now, am I saying that's what's going to happen? No, but I still think this is a really strong spot for Nick Chubb. And so if they can keep this game close, which I think they can with their defense, I think this becomes a little bit more Nick Chubb than we see Kareem Hunt. So I prefer Leonard Fournette, who I think has a little bit clearer path to touches. I still think, don't get me wrong, that Kareem Hunt is a strong RB2 this week, but I just slightly prefer Leonard Fournette here in this matchup. And then another one, my league, full PPR, Gaskins or Hunt. Now, this one, I'm going to go Kareem Hunt in this matchup here between Gaskins and Hunt. Gaskins is just so hard to trust on a week-to-week basis, and we are on an even week. So, he only performs on odd weeks. But so just go Kareem Hunt in this one. I think it is just a better spot for him. Flappy Chapper. Should I trade DeAndre Hopkins for Deontay Johnson? As crazy as it is, I'm going to say yes. And I know people are going to be, what? DeAndre Hopkins for Deontay Johnson does not get the respect that he deserves. And we need to put some respect on that man's name, okay? Because he has been one of the best wide receivers in the league this year. He's averaging 17.3 fantasy points per game. He's getting a 29% target share. He's 6th in targets on the year. Yes, I get it. He is playing with a much worse quarterback and Big Ben, much older quarterback and Big Ben. But even when DeAndre Hopkins was healthy, he was not seeing the same type of target share that we typically see from him. He was more in, he was seeing just at a 20% target share on the season, only averaging 6 targets per game, where you have Deontay Johnson, who is averaging 10.6 targets per game. He is this offense. He is getting so many more looks in this offense. He's also getting deep looks, which is something that I did not anticipate. If you remember last year, he was much more of a short intermediate guy. This year, he's actually 14th in the league in deep targets on the season, and they've been able to connect on some of these. So I would say yes. I would trade DeAndre Hopkins for Deontay Johnson. And I would maybe try to, Flappy, get a little bit more. See if you can get something else out of this, because Deontay Johnson just doesn't get the respect that he deserves. He is absolutely a top 10 wide receiver in the league. He's been playing like it this year. He's also 7th in yards after the catch, so he's explosive once they get the ball in his hands. And I think they can do a better job of hitting him on some slants and some underneath stuff where he can use that after the yards after the catch ability. to really get more out of that. But yes, I want that. I want Deontay Johnson. He's somebody that I've been talking about as a buy low, just because he does not get the respect that he deserves on a week-to-week basis. So yes, I would make that move. Brandon Cooks or Brandon Ayuk at flex from Alex. This is close, but I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks here in this matchup. Brandon Cooks, again, is another guy that is this offense. Terrific matchup against the Jets this week. Like I've already talked about, love Brandon Ayuk as well, but I got to go Brandon Cooks here in a prime bounce back spot this week. He only saw 3 targets last week, but that was mainly because the Texans were ahead that entire game. So give me Brandon Cooks here in a really strong spot against the Jets. Truth Teller got Barkley and Eckler at running back. Need help with the flex. You like running back Williams from Denver or Freeman from the Ravens? I think this is a close one. These are two running backs that are in committees, and I prefer Javante Williams. I'm going to bet on talent here. And like I said, I do think there is a chance that Javante Williams does take over this backfield this weekend, and this is the spot that he comes out and really takes over, because this is typically where we see offenses turn to their rookie, after the bye. And so I am going to bet on Javante Williams here. Now, if it doesn't happen, he's still a strong RB3 for the rest of the season, but this is a spot where it definitely could happen. Raylan, Colts or Tampa Bay winning this week? I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay. I just think it makes a little more sense. I do think the Colts can keep this game close, and we just saw them smack the hell out of the Bills, a couple weeks ago. So it's definitely in the range of possibility, but I just have to prefer Tampa Bay here in this game. Rob Gronkowski or George Kittle? Travis Kelce is on bye. Who do you think I should drop for Melvin Gordon or Joe? Okay. One, no, you shouldn't drop Melvin Gordon or Joe Mixon. Do you have any other options, Porter, that you can drop? Because I do not want to drop I mean, I guess if you had to, you could drop Melvin Gordon, but I don't really want to drop Melvin Gordon. And I'm damn sure not dropping Joe Mixon. I would rather just take a 0 than dropping one of those guys, to be honest with you, at tight end. I mean, tight end, especially at the tight end position. But I mean, if I'm choosing one of these tight ends, it's George Kittle for sure. I like Rob Gronkowski. He did see 8 targets last week, but I'm not sitting George Kittle if I have an option there. But no, you should not drop Melvin Gordon or Joe Mixon unless you absolutely had to. And like I said, I would prefer just to take a 0 than dropping one of those. Susan, full PPR, Barkley or Gibson? Give me Saquon Barkley. The Giants are missing Sterling Shepard. They are missing Kadarius Toney. We've seen this before with this defense or with this offense, where they have been missing a lot of pieces on wide receiver. It's been pretty much a continuous theme, and we saw it earlier in the year for Saquon, where they were missing a lot of these pieces, and he saw 7 receptions in one game, 6 receptions in another. This feels much more like that again this week. Saquon over Antonio Gibson for me on this one. He played around 60% of the snaps last week, but some of that's because of the blowout factor that they had there against the Bucs. I think he gets back to more of the 70-80% of the backfield touches in this one. So give me Saquon Barkley in a spot I think is really strong for him. Colts D or 49ers D this week? Neither one, if I don't have to. I don't think either one of these are great options, to be honest with you. I think I damn sure ain't playing the Colts against the Bucs. And then the 49ers against the Vikings, I guess, would be the one that if I had to choose one, I had to go with. That's the one I would go with. But I don't like either one of them. I just think there's better options that you probably could add off waivers. Maybe not. If not, you go with 49ers. Any good defensive streaming options this week? Yes. I'm sure some of these have already been picked up because, where we sit in the week. But the Houston Texans are absolutely a streaming option this week, going against Zach Wilson and the Jets. So I am definitely want some action there on the Houston Texans. I am playing a lot of them in DFS this week as well. at their price tag of $2,300 on DraftKings. But regardless of that, but for streaming, yes, Houston Texans, I think, are definitely an option. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers against Cincinnati, I think, is an option. But them getting TJ Watt back, with getting Minkah Fitzpatrick back, I think helps this offense. We know the Bengals' offensive line is not very good, and they can get pressure on Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow, could definitely, turn the ball over a couple of times here. So I like Pittsburgh Steelers as kind of that sneaky streaming option this week. They're probably widely available. I also don't mind the Philadelphia Eagles, like I've already talked about, going against Daniel Jones, who has the propensity to turn the ball over. I think those would be the three that most interest me. I think there's some other ones, Baltimore, if they happen to be sitting out there, I think, that makes a little bit of sense for on that level. Cincinnati isn't terrible. And then possibly, I think the Chargers as well would be a place you go to in terms of streaming. So I think any of those are really viable options on defense this week. Linear Miles Sanders, if CPAT can't go. I'm playing Miles Sanders over Cordell Patterson, whether he can play or not. To be honest with you, I've already talked about this. I don't like playing players that are coming off high ankle sprains. Even if it was a mild one, it tends to really limit those players. They're not able to cut in the same way that they usually can. So I'm playing Miles Sanders over Cordell Patterson, whether he plays or not. And the fact that he's a game time decision doesn't really give me a lot of confidence either. I know it's a great matchup, but I'm going to go with Miles Sanders here and this one. Next up, we got AJ Dillon and over Aaron Jones. If they're playing, I'm probably gonna go with Aaron Jones. We know he's how much he's utilized in the passing game here, and I think he's a better wide receiver. If they feel comfortable enough with him playing, he must be pretty close to 100%, because we know, Dustin, that the Packers are notoriously cautious when it comes to are notoriously cautious when it comes to injuries. And so if he's playing, he is definitely good to go. And so I'm going to go with Aaron Jones. I'm not going to sit Aaron Jones for AJ Dillon. Do I pick who do I go and pick them? Carolina or Miami? I'm going to go Carolina. Just a better matchup, better option here. So that's would be who I would go with in this one. Koa Boat. I may have murdered that, but is Aaron Jones playing? We have not got official confirmation yet with this one. So basically, it came out last night that he was going to be a game time, and then we got more information overnight that there is definite optimism around Aaron Jones playing. And so it's basically, they said he's going to test it pregame, but like I've said, doesn't really make sense because he's practiced all week. So I don't know what else he has to really do. If he feels good coming out of all the practices he has, I don't know what him testing it pregame is going to do. But regardless, I am not a medical expert, so I'm not going to sit here and speak on that. But I will say here, I still think it's 50-50 if he plays, just because of how the Packers have been notoriously. And like I've said, we have some indication of last year when Davante Adams was in a similar spot. And Davante Adams came out and said he wants to play, just like Aaron Jones has said this week that he wants to play. And ultimately, they ended up holding him out, and he was inactive. They do have a bye this week, or coming up after this week. So that's why there's always been a lot of thought that, it'd be smarter if they just sit him. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. To me, if you have a viable option, if you have a Javante Williams or Antonio Gibson or a wide receiver or something like that you can flex and have ready if he does not play, I think then I would wait, because I want to play Aaron Jones. If he's healthy enough to play, he's probably good to go. If not, then I think you go with the other option, because I do think this is more 50-50 than anything. Eric, rocking with us. Love the Christmas hat. Thank you. Hey, it's that time of the year. I've been rocking it all year. We're on to Christmas. Thanksgiving is over. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and hopefully they enjoyed watching some football. on that day, on Thursday. Jonathan, Cooper, Foreman, or Gordon? So on this one with Deonta Foreman, we got news this morning that he's expected to handle the bulk of the carries, which is not surprising to me whatsoever. I mean, I think that's kind of what I expected, that he was going to be the early down guy. They cut Adrian Peterson, so he's kind of that guy now, right? The problem is they have nobody else on offense. I don't see how they move the ball today. The Titans have been this crazy team this year that have won games in spite of missing players, winning games that I don't think anybody would have thought they would have won. The Patriots aren't a juggernaut of an offense, but I think they are with no AJ Brown, no Julio Jones. I mean, they're out here running Nick Westbrook-Akeen and Des Fitzpatrick. I feel like that the Patriots are going to be able to do kind of what we saw against the Falcons and really just play slow, run the football, and get up quickly and get up early and really put them to bed. So that just kind of takes Foreman out of it because unless they can get a lead or keep this game really close where they can run Deonta Foreman a lot, that's the only way I would like it because it's not a bad matchup. The Patriots do struggle against the run. They have not been great against the run this year, so it's not a bad matchup. I just prefer Melvin Gordon, especially in a standard league. Like we've already mentioned, the Chargers do struggle with stopping the runs, especially running backs, especially inside the red zone. So I would go Melvin Gordon here just because I think that he's going to be more involved. He's also involved in the passing, which I know is standard, so it doesn't account as much for that. But still, I think he's going to be more involved. Foreman, I just can't trust in a matchup against the Patriots when this Titans offense has absolutely nobody. Start Patterson or Dillon. I mean, I think I would still rock A.J. Dillon. We know A.J. Dillon is going to be involved in this offense. Regardless if Aaron Jones plays, like that's never been in question. And so I do think that I would still prefer going with AJ Dillon and roll the dice because because I would be sick if Aaron Jones got ruled out and you sat AJ Dillon and played Cordell Patterson because he's even he's a top 15 running back if Aaron Jones does end up sitting. So I think you just roll with Dillon and see what happens. What? Drop Joe Mixon. What? Yeah, we're not dropping Joe Mixon. That's never going to happen. Like I said, I would take a 0 before I drop Joe Mixon. Excuse me. I don't know if Marquis Brown is playing tonight. I heard he is, but should I start Claypool or Devonta Smith? I'm 6-5. I need this win at flex from Polo 2K. I would sit him for Devonta Smith. Javante has been the only wide receiver that has really produced. We've seen some Quez Watkins at times. Jalen Reagor hasn't really been a thing. The only thing that worries me is we're still talking about an offense that's only throwing the ball about 40% of the time. And I think game script is really going to play a part in this one. But, I mean, we've still seen really going all the way back to week 4. I mean, he scored double-digit fantasy points in every single week but 2. That was week 6 against Tampa Bay, where he scored 5.1, and then against Detroit, where he had 2.5. Other than that, we've seen 19.2, 14.7, 11.1, 22.6, 22.6, and 10.1. And some of these were blowouts where they really had control of the game. They didn't have to throw the ball that much. So I would prefer going with Devonta Smith. He is the clear alpha in this offense, and that's who I would want to go with. Excuse me, whenever I guess you talk this much. We already answered that one. Thanks so much. Susan, appreciate you in here rocking with us. Alexis, Eli or Daryl Henderson? This one is an interesting matchup here. So, again, we've talked about Eli Mitchell being in a great spot here against Minnesota. Minnesota's run defense has truly been terrible this year. And especially now they're missing almost their entire defensive front. No Danielle Hunter, no Everson Griffin, obviously. They're just missing so many pieces on this defense where it's going to be, I don't see how they're going to be able to stop the run. And we know that's what San Francisco wants to do in this matchup. So if you look, Minnesota ranks 32nd in adjusted line yards on the season. Their defensive line does 29th in stuff rank, 32nd in open field. So they've just really, really struggled to stop the run, where the Packers this year have been also a little bit vulnerable. So this is both a great match because the Packers are actually 29th in adjusted line yards, 25th in stuff. So these are two really should be good matchups for both of these running backs. But I'm going to go here with Daryl Henderson. I just trust him a little bit more. He's not dealing with an injury. He is going to be involved in the passing game. So regardless if of game script. So I just prefer a little bit more going with a Daryl Henderson here over Elijah Mitchell, Alexis. Chris, Patterson, Devonta Smith, or Marquis Brown. I'm going to go with Devonta Smith. I've already talked about with Cordell Patterson. I just do not love playing running backs or playing a player coming off a high ankle sprain, especially one that it only happened a couple of weeks ago. We saw Jerry Judy, come back from a high ankle sprain, and he was out for 6 weeks. I mean, and now we're getting Cordell Patterson coming back really after 2 weeks. And I know his is much more of a mild high ankle sprain, but still, we just see enough from Cordell guys coming back from high ankle sprains where it just takes them a while to get back to being 100%. And so I do not trust playing Cordell Patterson here in this matchup against Jacksonville. And it's something else I talked about. Jacksonville, one, against the run has been actually really good this year. That's not where we target Jacksonville. Now, Cordell Patterson is heavily involved in the passing game as well, and so that does help him. It's just I just do not love playing a player coming off high ankle sprain. And so give me Devonta Smith here in this matchup, who has really played well. Just talked about him. So give me Devonta Smith. Chris, Russ, or Cam. I think I've already hit on this one once before. I'm going to go with that was Aaron Rodgers and Cam. So on this one, I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. I just prefer slightly Russell Wilson. Great bounce back spot against Washington. Washington has been terrible against the pass this year. And so give me Russell Wilson. CPAT is active. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I figured he would be. TX416. Who to start, Ayuk or Devonta Smith? I am going to go with, this is a good one too. Excuse me. I'm going to go with Devonta Smith. I have Devonta Smith ranked 17th this week in PPR, and I have Brandon Ayuk. Where do I have Ayuk at? I have Brandon Ayuk at 27, so just outside of a wide receiver 2, and I have Devonta Smith as a mid wide receiver 2. So give me Devonta Smith here in this matchup against the Giants. Mark, if Aaron Jones plays, should I start him over AJ Dillon? Yes, I think you should. Is there a possibility that Aaron Jones would be limited and maybe just plays kind of a secondary role and only really is utilized in the passing game? Yes. But I just can't see them bringing him back, coming off bye, if he's not 100% ready to go. And so if he's playing, I think that's a signal and an indication that where he stands. We knew this was a minor injury when it first happened. And so I don't think it should be something that we're all that concerned with. And so if Aaron Jones is active, I'm playing Aaron Jones. I'm not going to get cute and sit Aaron Jones for A.J. Dillon. Can it come back and bite you? Yes. But this is also fantasy football, and I just prefer to go with a guy who has a much higher ceiling. Because if they're both active, they're going to cut into each other a little bit anyway. But I just prefer Aaron Jones because, like I said, if he plays, I just can't see a scenario where they bring him back and he's not close to 100%. So, I would still play Aaron Jones. Yeah. Should I play A.J. Dillon because I have Cordell Patterson? What do you think? Yes, I would. I would play A.J. Dillon regardless of if Aaron Jones plays. I just think that this is just a better spot. And like I said, I just don't want to play Cordell Patterson. I want to see what he looks like coming off this injury. And is he the same guy? Is he restricted in any way? Because typically it's what we see from players coming off high ankle sprains. Nick, Elijah Mitchell or Javante Williams? again, here we are with these two. Absolutely love both of these running backs this week. I'm going to go with Elijah Mitchell. Obviously, we're going to find out if Elijah Mitchell is going to play. I do expect him to play, but if he doesn't, then obviously this is an easy decision. Javante, like I've already said and I've already talked about, I think there's a real chance that he does take over this backfield this week. But I'm not going to sit here and bet on that in terms of your fantasy team and bet that he comes back this week. Or he not comes back, but he actually does 100% take over this backfield. And so I prefer Elijah Mitchell. This is a great spot for Elijah Mitchell. Absolutely elite spot for Elijah Mitchell. And if he's playing, then I think they're confident enough in him getting the job done. And like I said, a great spot against Minnesota. Minnesota's defense is really shredded with injury and some other issues. And so I'm not sitting Elijah Mitchell against the Vikings, where Javonte Williams could absolutely have a great day on the ground and rush for 90 yards, but then Melvin Gordon comes in on the goal line and takes his touchdown opportunities away, which I've seen as of recent weeks. It really makes me want to punch somebody in the throat every time, because Javonte Williams will work the ball down the field and do all the work, and then all of a sudden Melvin Gordon comes in, when they're inside the red zone and scores the touchdown. So it's just super frustrating there on that front. So I would just slightly prefer Elijah Mitchell here, though I do like Javonte Williams this week. Pittsburgh or Browns D this week? I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. Like I already said, I think Pittsburgh getting T.J. Watt back, getting Mika Fitzpatrick back helps this defense. I don't think they're going to be as absolutely get run over like they just got against the Chargers with those players back. And the Bengals offensive line is not very good. They give up a lot of sacks, and so sacks lead to turnovers, and so pressure leads to turnovers, and so that's what I'm looking for here. I think Browns D is fine. But I think this is completely different when you're talking about facing Lamar Jackson. So give me Pittsburgh here. Browns are 49ers rest of season. I'm going to go with the Browns. I think the 49ers is a good defense. I think they're slightly above average, where I think the Browns are much more in probably that top 10 range, right? So that's where I would lean there. Yeah, give me the Browns rest of season. Ronald, don't forget to hit that like button. Absolutely, Ronald. Don't forget, it's absolutely free to click that like button. Hit that subscribe if you're new here. Really do appreciate it. We normally have more people on the Sunday show, so it's not just hearing me talk for all this time. But we had some people out this week, and so I stepped up and decided to just do this solo. And I'll be going live again tonight to do the waiver show. So, and we're gonna do the waivers, not different, but I'm going to hit a little bit more on some players that I think that not only should we be looking to add for this week, but I think add for long term, and go into a little bit more in depth on some players maybe aren't on everybody's radar in terms of ads. And speaking of players that should be on everybody's radar and that should be added, and if you're sitting in this chat and he is available in your league, you should go add right now, and that is DJ Dallas. I've been saying it all week. I'm going to say it again. Add DJ Dallas before their game today, because right now they are missing Travis Homer. They are missing Rashad Penny. So it's going to be Alex Collins and DJ Dallas. Alex Collins has been terrible this year. Absolutely dreadful. He has done nothing. He's had the opportunity all year to run with this backfield and has done nothing with it. We saw last week DJ Dallas and Alex Collins, they both split the touches, 37% last week. Alex Collins looked terrible. DJ Dallas found the end zone, scored the only touchdown of the game. And I just think there's a real possibility he takes over this backfield rest of season, and this is his backfield. He's a much better pass catcher than what Alex Collins is. So regardless, he's got to be involved this week as well. I think DJ Dallas, you could absolutely play this week if you're in need of a running back. I think he's more of a flex play. But if DJ Dallas is sitting out there, I've been saying it all week, do not wait to see what happens. Go add him now, because he is likely going to be, or very well could be, a top waiver ad this week. And I don't want to wait to see what's going to happen, then have to fight people to try to get him. Unless you're locked into the number one waiver ad or you have the most fab, I don't want to have to do that. Go add DJ Dallas, because I think he could end up being a strong, I don't want to say, I think he could be an RB2 rest of season if they do turn the reins over to him, which they should, because Alex Collins has been terrible. So, Noah, Pittman or Elijah Moore? this is tough because we know Corey Davis is out. And so that just absolutely raises Elijah Moore's floor. Laviska Shenault, or Laviska Shenault, I don't know where that come from. Michael Pittman they're going to be playing from behind in this matchup. They're going to have to throw the ball against Tampa Bay. He's going to see Sean Murphy Bunting, who, if you look at him, like he has been actually just pretty much terrible this year. He's going to also see some Jamel Dean, where Jamel Dean has been really, really good this year as a corner. And so I still slightly prefer Michael Pittman in this game, but I do think Elijah Moore even goes up higher, who I already have Elijah Moore as a top 20 or a top 20 wide receiver this week, where I have Michael Pittman right outside of it as a wide receiver 1. So I do prefer Michael Pittman. Noah, let us know if there's any way we can get both of these guys into your lineup this week, possibly as a flex or anything like that. But I slightly prefer Michael Pittman in this matchup. Brian, T. Higgins, or Judy? I'm going to go with Jerry Judy here in this matchup. T. Higgins, he is hitting every requisite number we look for, right? He is giving off all the signals of being a better wide receiver than what he's been. It's just he's not getting it done. He has a 23% target share in this offense. He has a 33% market share of the air yards in this offense, which is a really solid number. The problem is he's only averaging 11.7 fantasy points per game. He has really no ceiling. The best game he's had all year is 15.8. That was week 1 against Minnesota. Other than that, his highest output is 13.8. So it's just trust to really, I think T. Higgins is fine. I think he's a really kind of a safe floor play, but I just prefer Jerry Judy, especially when I consider this is, if this is a PPR. DJ Moore. No, Porter. We're not dropping DJ Moore, my guy. Okay. We're not dropping, elite plays just for one move, but we're definitely not dropping DJ Moore. We can't do that. Jesse Torres, pick 2, Lockett, Thielen, Mike Williams, Claypool. Didn't I already hit this? I think I hit this. Anyways, it's Lockett and Thielen for me. Really close. I have Lockett, Thielen, Mike Williams, top 30 or top 20 wide receivers this week. I just have Lockett and Thielen ahead of Mike Williams. So, yeah, that's where I would go there. Savage, half PPR, Galladay or Ramondre Stevenson. Give me Galladay here. Like I've already talked about with the Giants and really starting to, I think with Freddie Kitchens, the one thing he's going to bring to the table is we're going to see more deep vertical passing here, and that's really going to help Kenny Galladay, and not to mention the fact that they don't really have anybody else that's healthy. They have Sterling Shepard, who is out, Kadarius Toney, who is out. So I think that Kenny Galladay is a decent wide receiver 3 this week. I also think Darius Slayton, for people that are maybe hurting at wide receiver this week, Darius Slayton makes a little bit of sense in the same game because they're going to be without so many pass catchers. So that's where I would go there. Jesse, Stafford or Wilson? Give me Stafford. Stafford's a top 5 quarterback this week going against Green Bay. Green Bay, had played really well there, but then we saw them kind of get thrashed last week by the Minnesota Vikings. And I think this is kind of a similar spot where they can do kind of the same thing. And so I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford here in a matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Susan, playing at flex, Ayuk, Bigston, Gibson, and Beckham. I think I would go with Antonio. I absolutely love Antonio Gibson. I love, Brandon Ayuk this week. I've already said that many times today. Sorry, had to shut the blinds. Anyways, I'm going to go here with Antonio Gibson. I think it's really close, really like Brandon Ayuk, but I could see, with having Debo, with having George Kittle here in this matchup, I think there is a spot here where maybe he doesn't see as much. Maybe he only goes, 3 for 40 or something like that. It doesn't get it there. Antonio Gibson, I know, is getting likely 15 to 18 touches in this game. So I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson here, just slightly over Brandon Ayuk and Odell Beckham. I just think he's a little bit safer of a play. But if we're shooting for absolute ceiling, I would go Brandon Ayuk. Tyler Anderson, Pitts or Gronk. This is Pitts. If there's not many better matchups for Kyle Pitts than facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I've mentioned, the Jaguars have actually been surprisingly pretty good against the run. It is against the pass where they have really, really struggled this year. So I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts over Gronk here in this matchup. Should I trade Chubb and Mike Will for Debo and Gibson? Yes, I think I would. It makes me nervous because with Debo Samuel, the dude has been one of the best wide receivers in the league this year, and they're using him in so many different ways. Not just as a pass catcher, but they're also as a running back now. It's just the only thing that like in the back of my mind is, man, this guy gets hurt every year. Like, is something gonna like? That's the only thing that'll make me nervous. But yes, absolutely. I want Debo and Antonio Gibson over Mike Williams and Chubb, and I love Nick Chubb as well. But with Kareem Hunt coming back, like I think that he is going to once again have sort of a cap ceiling a little bit moving forward, slightly. And so I just prefer go Debo and Gibson. Yes. Brock, Dylan Hunt or Ty Johnson? It's about time we get a Ty Johnson question. I like Ty Johnson this week, but not over A.J. Dillon or Kareem Hunt. If Aaron Jones is out, go A.J. Dillon, obviously. If Aaron Jones plays, we're going to go Kareem Hunt. And this one, Brock. Alexis Waller with a questionable injury had to pick a tight end from waivers. Who do I pick up? Well, I don't think you need to make it happen now because it's very likely that Darren Waller could be back and playing next week. Because, I mean, one, he's going to get that extra rest, right? So the injury happened on Thursday, so we're going to get that extra time in there. And it sounded like it was a very minor injury. So I really would be surprised if he doesn't play next week. I should say I'd be surprised that anything's possible, but it sounds like it was very minor. But if you had to pick up a tight end, I'm going to pick up Dan Arnold from this group of tight ends. Dan Arnold, Dan the man. Dan, the DFS DJ Nation show that we do, legend that we were on well before anybody else. But, he's seeing a really solid target share this year. He's being really involved in this passing game, outside of, I guess, last week where he saw 0 targets, which was weird. But before that, he saw, with since joining the Jaguars, 8, 5, 10, 7, and 7 targets. Very, very reliable tight end. And so it would be Dan Arnold who I would pick up. But I fully expect Darren Waller to play next week. So Noel, excuse me, Javante Williams or Rashad Bateman. I'm going to go with Javante Williams here. I continue to talk about this one, but this is who I would go with is Javante Williams. I think that there is a shot that he takes over. I like Rashad Bateman as well. But I just think AJ Dillon, I've said his name so many times. Javante Williams has a really good opportunity today against this Charger offense. And to be fair, if you look at the matchup that Rashad Bateman is going to see the majority of Denzel Ward in this matchup here. And Denzel Ward has definitely been the Browns' best cover corner this year. And let me see what else he's doing over here really quick. I was not prepared for that one. So pull this up really quickly. Denzel Ward on the season is only allowing a 77.3 quarterback rating and a 61% completion percentage on the season. So, yeah, I'm going to go away from Rashad Bateman here and go Javante because Bateman does have a much tougher matchup here. TX, take a shot with Aaron Jones or roll with Damien Harris. If you don't have any other option, is there anybody else that you can add that you have that plays in the 3:00 time slot just in case? Because I don't want you to take a 0. If you have no other option, then yes, I think you probably have to go Damien Harris because I don't want to risk taking a 0 if Aaron Jones doesn't play. TX. But if he does, or if you do have another option, I would probably lean towards Aaron Jones because Aaron Jones is a much higher ceiling than Damien Harris does. Damien Harris is playing time with Ramondre Stevenson, and at almost, I think he played 40% of the snaps last week against the Falcons, and so yeah. If you have another option that a viable option that you can wait for and plug in the event that Aaron Jones doesn't play, that's fine. Let's do that. If not, go Damien Harris because if that's the only two options you have, just roll Damien Harris this week. Oh, yeah, it's still Dan Arnold if you have to pick somebody up. But who are you dropping, Alexis? Just so we're not dropping somebody that's kind of crazy because I don't think this move needs to be made now. It's something you could wait for. If all these guys are available, this sounds like there's a lot of tight ends available out there. It's not like all these guys are getting scooped up this week. So I would much rather just wait and see what happens with Darren Waller than drop somebody that may end up helping you more so this week. So, Alexis, let me know who are you dropping him for? Or who are you dropping to add him? To add one of these tight ends. Let me put that way. Jamel Freiermuth, Sutton, Dearness Johnson for flex. So with Kareem Hunt coming back, Dearness Johnson, you can cross him off. Now he's a hold for sure. He's one of the best flex options or one of the best handcuff running backs we're going to have. If something happens to these running backs again, which we've seen with Cleveland this year, or if something happens to, if Kareem Hunt re-injures, then he becomes back into a viable RB3. But right now, we're not playing Dearness Johnson with Kareem Hunt back. And then Patty Fry or Sutton. I'm going to lean towards Patty Fry here in this matchup against Cincinnati. I don't mind Courtland Sutton, but man, Courtland Sutton, since Jerry Judy has been back, has just not been the same guy. Does that mean I think this is going to continue where he just doesn't get involved at all? No, but we're talking like he saw 2 targets against Dallas. Now that was a game that they were really, really far ahead. Don't get me wrong, and they did not have to throw the ball very much. But even last week against Philly, where they were trailing, they still only saw 3 targets. He's still running a lot of routes, 24 routes and 35 routes the last 2 weeks, but he's just not seeing any targets right now. Until that changes, I'm just, give me Patty Fry. New Life, half point PPR, Hollywood with a quad, Elijah Moore. I'm going to go with Elijah Moore here. No Corey Davis, I think, is huge for him. There was a lot of talk this week about, well, that's kind of was his favorite target, which really wasn't true. Yes, he was probably the more targeted, I guess I should say, but it wasn't as drastic as I think people thought that it was between him and Elijah Moore. I'm going to bet on Elijah Moore here being really the guy, especially with Corey Davis out in this game against Houston. This is a decent matchup against the Houston Texans. But without Corey Davis, I think Elijah Moore really just sees even more opportunities here in this backfield, for these among these wide receivers. So give me Elijah Moore here on this one. Bucks or Ravens D? I'm going to go Ravens, especially with how Baker Mayfield has really been struggling with this injury that he has. RDs. Give me the Ravens D. Murdoch in the chat rock. Jeff Wilson or DJ Dallas? Which to add? Give me DJ Dallas. Like I've already said, I don't know if you were in here, Murdoch, when I went on my little mini rant a little bit ago, but give me DJ Dallas. I am adding him everywhere. I have added him everywhere for this week. I absolutely love him as a speculative ad to see how this plays out. At worst, he is going to be involved in this game no matter what because he's really all they have. It's him and Alex Collins. There's only 2 running backs they're going to have. Travis Homer's out. Rashad Penny's out. And so, obviously, Chris Carson's out, obviously. And so, I like DJ Dallas. I don't mind Jeff Wilson as a handcuff either. If you could add both of them, Murdoch, I don't mind that because if Elijah Mitchell, if he gets hurt, I think Jeff Wilson probably is the guy here as the lead back, though. And I will say it was a little frustrating because we did see Trey Sermon get involved here as well, too. So, but it's definitely DJ Dallas for me. Aaron Jones, Jamar Chase, Tyler Lockett, or Brandon Cooks. If I can only choose one, Big Truz, it is Jamar Chase here, and it's not even close. Absolutely love Jamar Chase here in this spot. Great matchup. He absolutely torched the Steelers the last time they played him. And so he has seeing the most targets among these wide receivers as well. So highest target share at a good spot. Give me Jamar Chase. Full PPR from Eric, Cooks, Judy, Bateman, or Hollywood. I'm going to go Brandon Cooks. I know Walito, which I've not seen Walito. I don't know if he's in here today. Walito's spirit animal, and that's Brandon Cooks. But yeah, Brandon Cooks is in an elite spot against the Jets. The Jets have been so bad on the defensive side of the football. They're bad against the pass. They're bad against the run. They're just a terrible defense. And so give me Brandon Cooks here in this matchup against the New York Jets. 1K Williams. Pick 2 for running back PPR. Elijah Mitchell, Stevenson, Hilliard, Ty Johnson, or Freeman. So Elijah Mitchell, I'm locking him in. So this is how I would play this, because I don't know. I have not seen anything. I've been doing this, so I haven't been able to keep my eye as much on the inactives. If Elijah Mitchell, but as long as Elijah Mitchell obviously hasn't been ruled out, which I don't think he has because they don't play. So since we don't know that, right, I think you're in a good spot because you have Devonta Freeman, because this is the way I would play it. I'm playing Elijah Mitchell, and then I'm going to go with Ty Johnson as the other running back that I want to go with here. However, if Elijah Mitchell does get ruled out, then you have Devonta Freeman that I'm going to plug in as my other running back here. So you're in a good spot there. You actually have a running back that can play. If not, Elijah Mitchell's in. It's just a great spot against Minnesota. I like this matchup for Ty Johnson. Yes, I know that for Ty Johnson, but I know that Tevin Coleman is there. But Tevin Coleman is dust. Okay, and I just think Ty Johnson likely sees a lot of the opportunities. He's going to see most of the pass catching work as well. So give me Elijah Mitchell and Ty Johnson in this one. Yeah, and if Elijah Mitchell's out, we're just going to plug in Devonta Freeman. All right, I just added DJ Dallas. I guess we'll start with my flex over Sutton, Freiermuth, and Ernest Johnson. Yeah, I actually don't mind that. I don't mind that. Like I've said, like this is a really good spot. They don't have anybody else to throw to. There's just no way that, I mean, who else did they have? There's these two guys. DJ Dallas is definitely the pass catcher in this backfield. He's a second-year running back. A lot of people, if you're not familiar with who DJ Dallas is, he is a second-year running back for this team. Alex Collins has been in the league forever, but DJ Dallas was a fourth-round pick last year out of Miami. Like I said, he is the definite pass catcher here in this backfield. And so as well, so regardless, but I think there's just a really good shot that he's just going to take over the entire backfield. Alex Collins has been terrible this year, so I actually don't mind that. It would be between Freiermuth and DJ Dallas, but the spot's there for sure. Ronald, you convinced me. I'm going to add DJ. There we go. Let's go. We're all going to rejoice tonight if DJ. Oh, I guess we won't know tonight. Damn it. I was going to say for the waiver show that I'm going to do tonight, but I guess we will have some sort of idea. Or no, we won't, because that's the Monday game. Damn it, we won't know. Anyways, I digress. So hopefully we on Tuesday, or Wednesday this week, we get to talk about DJ Dallas having a good week and why it was a great move to pick him up. Or we'll talk about it in our absolutely free Discord, which you can find in the description of any one of our videos. If you're new here, we have an absolutely free fantasy football Discord. Ron is like the president over there. Between him and Walito, I'm just always active, always talking. It's absolutely a good time. There's always conversation going on, answering questions and everything else. It's a great fantasy football community, and it's absolutely free. It does not cost you anything. It's over at Discord. If you like it, you can come check it out. If you don't like it, you can leave. You can tell me, fuck you, Kevin, I'm out. And that's totally fine. I get it. So, Susan, okay, so full PPR, Elijah Moore, McLaurin, Allen, Evans, sitting Moore. Opinion. I probably would play. Oh, okay. So, okay. Never mind. I was okay. Yeah, I probably would. I'm not sitting Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, or Mike Evans. I can't do it. I like Elijah Moore, but I don't like him that much. I don't like him enough to sit those guys for that. Would you drop Van Jefferson, Noel, for DJ Dallas? I have Van Jefferson on my bench just in case Kupp were to get hurt. Is he the only option you have, Noel? Is that the worst? I really don't want to drop Van Jefferson because I think Van Jefferson is a solid flex option. But we are coming. So here's the other thing too. And I was going to talk about this more tonight, but buys are almost over with, right? We have this week and next, right? And I think next week, if I'm not mistaken, not this upcoming week, but the week after, week 14, I think is like a bunch of really bad teams that are on bye that week. But we're pretty much done with buys. So if you're a team that your teams are done with bye or you don't really have anybody else, it's time to drop. If you have 2 quarterbacks, they should be gone. 2 tight ends. Never should have 2 kickers or defenses, but if you did, those should be dropped. It is time to start adding all these viable flex option guys right now, right? These handcuffs, these league winners. This is where the league winning running back comes from. Is over the next couple of weeks, starter goes down. There's not enough time left in the season for them to be a viable option, and they get put on a season-ending IR and they're done. And I think that's why I want guys like DJ Dallas on my team. And if he doesn't work out, he doesn't work out. But there's no more holding on to some of these players just because of a bye or anything like that, because buys are pretty much over with. Now we're just trying to set ourselves up for the fantasy playoffs. Jesse, pick 1 running back and 1 flex. Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones. Well, Jonathan Taylor's absolutely locked in. We're not worried about that. And then the other running back, Fournette, Patterson, Mitchell, Mike Williams, Claypool. I'm going to go with Fournette here, Jesse, as the other running back, or as the flex, I should say. Glock guy, Ayuk or Rashad Bateman. I'm going Brandon Ayuk. I've talked about how much I absolutely love Brandon Ayuk this week, Glock. I'm going Brandon Ayuk, and Bateman does have a tougher matchup. Should I drop Claypool for Ayuk? Yeah, I think you could. I don't hate it. If that's your worst option, Jesse, I think you could do that. I don't want to drop Chase Claypool, but I think Brandon Ayuk is somebody rest of season that I like a little bit more. Also, Ayuk or Judy, I'm going to go with Ayuk here. This one, Big Truz, is really close. I could go either way, to be honest with you. I think both of these are solid options, but I would slightly prefer Ayuk. Noel, trade deadline is the first trade is the first. Sorry. Should I trade Dalvin Cook, Pittman, and Pat Freiermuth, and I receive? No. Kamara, I think he should be back soon, but the injury concerns me. Mark Ingram concerns me, and he has like not the worst, but like the second or third worst playoff schedule among remaining running backs. Now it is still Alvin Kamara. Don't get me wrong, but Dalvin Cook, and I love Michael Pittman as well. I don't hate the trade. It's Kamara, Keenan, and who's the Allen part of this? By the way, Noel. But no, I don't want to do that. I want Dalvin Cook. Pick 2, Sanders, Javante, Van Jefferson. Give me Sanders and Javante. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, AJ Dillon or Saquon. You don't really have the luxury of figuring this out. I'm going to go Saquon here. On this one, Bucks or Ravens? D's. Bucks or Ravens? Give me the Ravens here. You like this, Colin? Hey, it's Christmas season. We're here. We're trying to get wins. I think the best Christmas gift every year, or I shouldn't say the best, but one of the best is always trying to get that fantasy championship. I think championship week is on Christmas week this week. I think I have to look, but it's off the top of my head. I think it's right around there. Obviously, Stevenson, Deontay, Hilliard, Hunt. Pick 2. I'm gonna go Hunt, and I'm gonna go Hilliard here. As long as this is a PPR, Colin, because I think that they fall behind and they really have to utilize Hilliard as a passing game here on this one. I just don't think they can keep it close where Deonta Foreman is going to be viable, and then Stevenson just worries me. I think in a split. I would drop Mark Ingram. No. Let's wait, Alexis. Let's find out. Like you're not losing anything. None of these tight ends are going to be run out and picked up, right? So don't worry about that. So let's not drop Mark Ingram for a tight end that you may not even need. Okay. Let's hold on. We have time to find out. Vinegar 6699. Pick 2. Damien Harris, Stevenson. I'm guessing that's Jarvis Landry and Burkhead. I'm going to go with Damien Harris and Jarvis Landry here in this one. Yeah, I can't play Rex Burkhead. I know it's against the Jets, and the Jets have been terrible against the run, but I just cannot play Rex Burkhead. William Juarez, is Waller's injury bad? No, it doesn't sound like it. They said, I think it was an IT band, which I am not a doctor, so I'm not going to expand upon. There are people out there that do, and it's not something I'm going to talk about, but I just know that from everything that I saw, it's a pretty minor injury, so it's not really something we should be really worried about that much. So I don't think I'll be playing Ingram much. You're right. You do have good running backs. Don't get me wrong, but we just don't. You're also you're helping out somebody else, right? So if Kamara continues to miss, let's say Mark Ingram comes back, they play Thursday, I might add. So it's so it's very possible that Kamara's not back, but Mark Ingram could be back because Mark Ingram was very close to returning. So I'm not helping somebody out and dropping a player who could be starting this week against Dallas. So no, let's wait. We have time to find out. Joshua Dyer, Westbrook versus Jacoby Myers versus Collins. Pick one. I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers in this one. I know, again, I don't think this is going to be a great matchup. So, what are they doing here? Uzi, DFS question. Mixon, Saquon, Crowder, or Cup, David Johnson, Ty Johnson. I mean, I'm going to go with the first one. Uzi, I do not like David Johnson this week at all. Whether it's DFS or not, I get the play and everything else, and at his price, and he's going to carry no ownership, and it's a good matchup. I just can't do it, Uzi. But I do like Cup because I don't think he's going to be as rostered as he should be. Eric, Gaskin or Miles? Gaskin, it's not even close. Kyle, Judy, Dylan, Miles Sanders, Devonta, pick two. I'm going to go with Miles Sanders and A.J. Dillon if Aaron Jones is out. If Aaron Jones plays, go Jerry Judy. Dillon or T. Higgins, go Dillon. I mean, I guess we can because, they play Monday, Hey, it's a one-man show right now, Jamel, okay? Or Jamel, as long as hopefully I'm not pronouncing your name wrong. But I would go in for an hour and 17 minutes by myself. So sometimes we misspeak. But yes, DJ Dallas, we're adding him. TN, as always, $20 holler. We appreciate you, TN. You are the man. Absolutely love you. Sorry I did not get to this sooner. Sorry I did not see this. Drop Tannehill for Joe Burrow. Bridgewater. Actually, yes, it's the first one. I'm not playing Ryan Tannehill in this matchup without none of his wide receivers. Cannot do it. Drop Tannehill for Joe Burrow. Yes, that's where I would go. That's what you have to do. I cannot play Ryan Tannehill with all these players. And now they place AJ Brown on IR, so he's out for the next 3 weeks. I just can't do it. Nick, do I play Aaron Jones over Ty Johnson in hopes that he plays? I would have to start DJ Dallas. Hey, this is DJ Dallas week here, TFA fam. So I don't mind that. So yes, I would rather prefer to wait and see if Aaron Jones plays over Ty Johnson. I like Ty Johnson, but I would just rather wait for that. Boyd or Westbrook Akeen? Colin, I'm gonna go with Westbrook Akeen here just because I think it's possible he sees like 8 to 10 targets. They have nobody else to throw the ball to. Anthony, pick two, Pittman, Lockett, or Devonta Smith. Give me Michael Pittman and Tyler Lockett here, but it's really close because I really do like that one. Brady or Murray? We don't. If that's Kyler Murray, we're not dropping Kyler Murray, Susan. I'm assuming that's who that is. Look to trade if your trade deadline's not passed. Look to trade one of these guys for sure because Kyler Murray should be back after their bye. 100%. And so I don't want to drop any of those guys if I don't have to. I basically only have handcuffs on my bench. My bench is Michelle, Pollard, Snell, AB, Higgins, Jefferson. I could drop Snell. I just like to have my bench because of Najee and such big work. Yeah, but so Noel, like he's not going to get the same workload as what Najee Harris does. It ain't gonna happen. He'll get like the early down work, and then they have other options, whether it's Kalen Ballage or somebody else there as the pass catching back. So yes, I do definitely. That's who I would drop if I was dropping somebody is Benny Snell, Jacob, Elijah Moore or Gronk. Give me Elijah Moore. Steelers at Cincinnati, Carolina, and Miami. Give me Carolina. C. Shav, Hilliard, or David Johnson, Jeff Wilson. Give me Hilliard, like I've already talked about. DJ Dallas or Mark Ingram. Who should I stash, though? I mean, you have to stash Mark Ingram just because it's just a better offense. Or it's not a better offense, excuse me on that, but he has a more defined role. So if that's only option, yeah, we're just going to keep Mark Ingram. I just don't want to drop Mark Ingram. Start one, Carolina or Miami. Carolina. K5, another one. Ty Johnson, David Johnson, Odell, Crowder, Valdez, Scantling. Ty Johnson and Odell here for me. Should I pick up DJ Dallas over Miles Sanders for future? No. We want Miles Sanders. Again, you know what? Yeah. We're not dropping Miles Sanders for DJ Dallas. Much as I love DJ Dallas, we're not dropping Miles Sanders for that. Latavius or Rex Burkhead. All right, you got me. I guess we're going Rex Burkhead on this one. Susan Bader. No, don't drop either one of those quarterbacks. Then you're just helping somebody else out. We don't want to drop Kyler Murray or Tom Brady. K5, full PPR. Do I wait and see if Aaron Jones plays at 424? Play one of Higgins or Stevenson at 1? Since if you don't have any other option to go here, I think you probably just go T. Higgins on this one because you just don't have the ability to wait and see. Unless you could drop somebody and pick up, again, like I've talked about, DJ Dallas, who plays on Monday. Sutton or Cooks. This is Brandon Cooks, and it's not even close at all. Like, I absolutely love Brandon Cooks. Sutton has just not been involved as a pass catcher. Anthony, D. Johnson, I'm guessing that's Deontay. Absolutely Deontay Johnson. K5, thank you. So that'll wrap it up. It is 11:29, almost an hour and a half here. I appreciate everybody checking out the show. It's been a fun hour and a half of me just talking. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let's get some W's today. And be sure to jump into our Discord if you have any other questions, anything that pops up throughout the day. We're all in there. The entire squad's in there. We got a lot of people in there rocking with us. Walito, Ron's in there. All kinds of people that are in there. Great community. It's absolutely free. It costs you nothing. And like I said, if you don't like it, you can delete it. So regardless of that, I hope everybody has a great week this week. Let's get some dubs this week. So start stacking some dubs. Let's get into the playoffs. Let's win. I will catch you guys tonight because I'll be back again doing the solo show, doing the waiver wire ads. And I'm going to have quite a bit of guys to talk about in that one. So hopefully we got good vibes once we get in there. So everybody have a great week. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.